We want to believe that we have our own thoughts and that we're in full control of our behaviors. However, most of what we think, say, and do is influenced by society. Michael Foucault describes the disciplinary society as a normalizing power where, by our own will, we do what society wants us to do. Sandra Bartky notes that no individual, the skincare consultant, the parent, the policeman, wield that kind of authority. The disciplinary power that describes femininity in the feminine body is everywhere, and it's nowhere. The disciplinary power is everyone, yet no one in particular. But this doesn't only apply to the female body. Rigid social norms are created around femininity as well as masculinity. Changing how we think, say, and do will be an ongoing challenge for us, but perhaps we can make it a little easier for those in the next generation. I'm going to talk about 2 things we can do when we're engaging with kids so that we're not imposing our deeply ingrained gender ideals, as this will place limitations on their potential as people. The first and easiest things are the items that we love to shower them with: gifts. Other than the obvious, that is, gender colors, be aware of the toys that subordinate females. For example, nurse toys for girls and doctor toys for boys. This isn't meant to discount the work that nurses do, but rather we're saying that everyone should be allowed to be a doctor or a nurse. And by the same token, it's okay for girls to play with dolls, but they should also be given the opportunity to play with Legos as well. On the Pinterest page, Pointless Gender Products, we can see a hilarious account of how everyday items are obscurely gendered. The second trickier point is being aware of the words that we use in our behaviors around young kids. When we see a kid who expresses themselves confidently, we're likely to label this as assertive, if we see that in boys. However, we tend to label this as bossy when we see it in girls. The word bossy has a negative connotation, and by calling girls bossy, we're discouraging this confident behavior in girls, which can lead to a decrease in their self-esteem. Then we end up seeing less women in leadership roles. And that's why we see stats like how women only represent 25% of CEOs in the Fortune 500 last year. Another common phrase that's being thrown around is that boys shouldn't cry. When we do this, we're perpetuating toxic masculinity. Here's how Good Man Project, a media company who creates space about what it means to be a good man in the 21st century, defines toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity becomes harmful for men when strength is everything and emotions are seen as weakness. By not allowing boys to cry and regulate their emotions, we're not allowing them to understand how they feel. This has consequently been found to lead to depression and higher suicide rates in men. This can also lead them to establish a fearless persona, which has been linked to why we see more criminal activities committed by men. So as a general rule of thumb, continually ask yourself, would I buy, say, or do the same thing to someone of a different gender? Other than their genitals and who they choose to date, everybody, women, men, LGBTQ2+, are similar and can live similar lives. Without the disciplinary society imposing gender expectations, everybody has greater potential to be their best self.